Good afternoon from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. It's the 28th of December 2023, 12:28 p.m. It's a scathing hot day. The high today is going to be 36 by 1 p.m, they say, if you can trust the science. And tomorrow is predicted to be 37 degrees. So I've been sitting out under the trees with Charlie, and I brought her in because it was just too hot and she needed a drink. And I decided to continue with my daily readings. So I've got the aircon on and it's getting a bit more pleasant in here. So my cleaning lady, Rati, has just left, done her cleaning for the week. So everything's in order. I'll probably have to organise a lawnmower man again because we've had so much rain with all the storms that the grass has literally shot up like a wild jungle in the space of only about a week and a half. So the constant summer battles with the grass, never mind. It's life, people. It's life. It does stress me out from time to time. Anyway, we'll continue with our reading of even date, the 28th of December 2023. It's entitled 2020's Christmas New Year Miracle Wrought Unexpected Creativity in 2021. Indeed it did. And here's a picture of Charlie's very first manifestation of her femaleness, which came as quite a shock because we had thought her previous owners, when they gifted her to me, told me she was male, and well, I didn't know any better. I thought she was male too. But no, Charlie is a female birdie. 28th of December 2022. I have had a busy, productive day. I made a back-burning incense holder from ebony wood and an EPNS silver soup spoon. I bent the spoon weeks ago, but got stymied by depression, so I lost the motivation to make anything. But my energy kicked back in today, and I worked all day on various projects. I also received 6mm copper pipe. I ordered a few pipe. I ordered a few months ago. So I got to work cutting it to fit my cutlery canteen and or jewellery display. I made plugs out of the ebony wood as the thinner pipe was too loose in the sockets. Just making the plugs to fill the holes took me several hours. Then I finished off the stand for the incense burner. That took several hours of drilling and sanding holes for the screws to hold it together. I am so exhausted, but happy with my creativity today. And here I post a picture of the cutlery canteen that I've been decorating and revamping and working on. So, and here's a photograph of my ebony wood incense burner, which you can see in real life over here. I put my, it's quite heavy. I put my daughter's glow-in-the-dark incense holder underneath it as well that she made for me. But yeah, I'm quite happy with how that turned out. I didn't do a very good job with the actual carpentry component though, screwing the base in. But, you know, oh Val, Oh, Val, my darlings, it was my first attempt, and one of my things that I was doing in that period, the COVIDian period, when everyone lost their minds, was I was trying out new skills and new talents, and I even tried to teach myself a bit of sewing. I mean, I can sew basic straight line, but I didn't end up making actual garments because I still have kind of a block, a trauma block when it comes to sewing. But I sewed down all my silk swatch that I'd made with Japanese embroidery because I washed it and all the silk curled up. So I sewed all that down, and I sewed things on my little Swiss foil skirt, you know, the tapestry I showed you in another video. So I did little jobs like that. So that was another thing that I did, practicing skills and talents that I have yet not tapped into, but not overly. I mean, I sort of got into the flow a bit, but I'm not overly keen on actual sewing much. It probably won't be something that I'll ever really get into. But having a sewing machine so I can at least sew hems and fix, you know, rips and things is quite handy to have, you know. And that was Lynn's idea, that I got a sewing machine and learnt a few of those domestic goddess skills. Thanks, Lynn. But no, I did have fun with it, like I made little bags to put jewellery in. So no, it was productive and a worthwhile thing, and it's handy to have in the house if I ever want to sew anything. So 28th of December 2021. Here I'm having a bit of a fight with Facebook, which I do from time to time, fight my social media giants. So I wrote, "Dear Facebook, you keep sending me account restriction notifications and claim that fact checkers disagree with my worldviews, claim I am disseminating false information," which they do nearly every Christmas. Actually, this is the first Christmas they didn't slam down on me for some odd reason. Probably because a lot of the things that I have actually been saying the last few years have been proved to be correct, right? Time always reveals the truth in time. The last one you restricted, I don't even know which one that is, as you did not even show me, was on the 27th of December. I get that you, or mainstream people, don't understand or like that I believe in aliens, the gods, alternate realities, fairies, spirits, ghosts, etc., etc., etc. It's a big universe out there, people. I don't believe in your draconian stifling of truth, other people's belief systems, etc., etc., politics, anthropomorphic, egocentric, myopic, orgasmic, death-cultured bullying either. But here we are. I have 99 friends. 99 Luftballons or bottles on the wall. I have 102 friends now. I keep my friendship circle small for a reason, people. Out of those 99, about 5 interact with me regularly and are dear, valued, true friends. The rest are just here for the shits and giggles, or perhaps schadenfreude, or idle curiosity. I observed some of your staff recently followed my page, which I thought was odd. I wondered why that may be. I don't understand the point of followers who don't have the courage of their convictions to friend me. A person might wonder if these were real people or spy bots. I am such an innocuous, harmless little old lady, alone in my garden with my pets and hobbies and my cobbled-together spirituality, mostly based on self-determination, after decades of trauma I experienced with organized religions, that now you see me as a threat to the metaverses. Say what? Don't you know, Mr. Zuckerberg and his minions, that the multiverse is way, way bigger than that? I mean, really, truly. It's both spiritual abuse and a deprivation of my individual rights to silence me. I am sure most of my friends that think I am batshit crazy or disagree with me just scroll on by when my posts come up on their feed. Anyone with half a brain knows not to read anyone's thoughts or ideas they find irksome or problematic. I am not out to convert anyone, to take prisoners, to hold hostage to my worldview. I am doing my best to survive this COVIDian epoch that has turned most people into mindless drones. Living in fear of our doctors, scientists, governments, and now fact-checkers, lol, when an entire global population is hijacked by fear, strange things happen to innocent people. Last night I watched Just Look Up about an impending comet that was about to destroy humanity. I had to laugh. Don't you know that even Hollywood is taking the piss out of everyone's apocalyptic fears and making money out of it? Or magically setting worst-case scenarios in virtual reality so the salivating gods of death and destruction that inspired prophets of old can be assuaged, and perhaps we can reset the timelines to a more beautiful, safe, peaceful future. That beauty, that safety starts from within each human soul. It has to be created, it has to be fought for, and it has to be carefully maintained, protected, like a beautifully pruned topiary tree. I need to access that ability to make money instead of gifting AI all my thoughts, dreams, and aspirations for free, only to be restricted for that freedom of thought, soul, mind. I have already lived in stringent restrictions whilst subsisting on a pension. Now you want to stunt my voice and my truth as well. I find it interesting that every time I strive to attain some level of success, that I am stymied, silenced, threatened by some faceless, cowardly authority figure. I try not to think it's personal, but it's starting to look personal. You know, I don't accept abuse. I have had a lifetime of it. So if Facebook wants to be off its face for the holiday season, like all patriarchies acting out their control dramas when people are striving to celebrate life, freedom and happiness, then you and I will have to part ways, and I will have to get off your wall, off your grid, out of your control. I will be sad to leave my 99 friends, but life will go on. Dear true and loyal, loving Facebook friends, PM me if you wish to maintain a connection or friendship outside of this program. If you wish to have my email address or mobile phone number so we can communicate interpersonally away from Facebook or Instagram. I can see the time is nascent when we will be isolated from each other, not by choice, but by increasingly external pressures. You know one of my mottos, the only way to win a game is not to play. I will not allow my truth, however alternative to the current mainstream peddling bots, to be silenced. I don't play games. I don't have any interest in winning or losing anything. I am me. May the new year bless us all with better health, prosperity, truest, deepest loves, true and loyal, faithful partners, a community that supports and cares for us, more joy, more peace, and more empowerment. And on that note, even my computer's nodding up and down. And self-determination for those that were or are still unfairly discriminated against because we grew up from and over abusers in all aspects of our lives. Yes, we are unique, but that is our superpower and our beauty and our honour. Never let the bastards grind you, me, us down. We are humanity. Hold the line. Earlier I wrote, wow, I slept until midday, finally fell asleep around 3 a.m. I am sitting in my garden, munching on the last of the trifle with a cup of tea and Charlie and Bobo beside me. It's windy and cooler today. It rained during the night. Beautiful day, not too hot, unlike today. Last night, I'm going to sneeze, hang on a sec. It's not very ladylike, but never mind. Last night, I know, it's why I'm single, darlings. Last night, I bought more power. I can't control my sneeze. Sorry, boys. Last night, I bought more power shells. So I'm excited about that. It's a lot of work cutting them up for jewellery or inlays, but I love them so much. Craving home, right? Craving New Zealand. I have a tool for gem setting on back order with AJS, so that will be another step in that direction. And do you know, I bought it, I still haven't used it. But I will use it one day, it will come in handy. But it's funny, it's one of the tools I bought that I still am trepidatious to use, right? Oh well. There's YouTube videos showing you how to use these things. If I don't get stymied or abused by the powers that be, I can look up all these wonderful, magical, free tutorials and learn how to do things, which is how I've got this far in life for the last 3 years. Thank you, YouTube. You're not always a toxic space, just saying. We disagree on certain issues, but you do have lovely opportunities that you offer to the remaining living world population. I'm going to have to be judicious with my pension as I need to buy sterling silver and possibly some gold so I can learn to make jewellery. But for now, the PowerShells will keep me occupied. May we continue to go forth and prosper, my hearties, in all our undertakings, with harm to none and discrimination to none. So it is done. I made drawer handles out of 2 of the skulls that I made with resin, and the scraps of broken paua and or abalone that were left over from cutting out hearts and dots for my inlay projects. So I am delighted I found a way to use up all the leftover scraps. Very delighted. Life is good. I have real hope for my future at long last, even though it's taking me a long time to gather my resources. Smiley face. And God said, love your enemy, and I obeyed him and loved myself. Khalil Gibran. And my friends, without becoming a full-blown freaking narcissist, that is the best advice anyone ever gave anyone. "28th of December 2020. Ashehehianu, first sunflower of the season. I was just thinking that miracles usually go in threes. So much beauty and abundance at sacred space." And here she is. I took it at night, blooming even in the nightscape. Just delightful. But I haven't planted any more. It was only a little annual one. They're only annuals, I mean, by nature, by their nature. You can't do anything to change that. Live your best nature, my darlings. Remain wild, remain free, remain loving, remain honourable, remain beautiful. Here I write, still 2020. So I was freaking out about impending rain because there was a ring around the moon down the street. I get home, no ring. Weird. I am worried about my newly made paper. I guess I will have to bring it inside anyway. And there's a photo of the moon shedding its ring, or its rainbow type halo that the moon gets when rain's threatening. It was a bit astonishing how viewing it from down the street looked totally different. My friend Jared always jokes that we don't have a moon anymore, that it was blown apart when we landed on the original moon, and that forever after NASA's been putting up a hologram, right? And sometimes I almost believe him when the moon does weird things like 1 minute has a corona and the next minute appears normally. Sure, it's to do with our atmosphere, but there's been times when I could swear I saw 2 moons in the sky, which was Jared said, it's the glitch in their hologram. It does make you pause for thought as to what is really going on with our world and our earth and our reality. Rain on the moon, rain on the way as the moon has a ring. And here you can see the ring, quite distinctive. Actually, it's looking a bit like a golden colour around it. So you can see why I was pondering what on the moon was going on. So, strange. Gosh, I feel exhausted, but I had another lovely day, even if I did get too much sun while paper making. Life is good. Here I post some more photos of the astonishing event in my life when my birdie became a transgender birdie. No, she didn't become transgender. She was always a girl, but we misgendered her. So does that make her non-binary? I don't know. But anyway, I joke she's a transgender bird since I have transgender cousins, but no. She was a little girl birdie all along, and I wrote here, Charlie is a girl. I spelt it Charley. Quelle surprise en français, what a surprise. Oh my goddess, I just discovered why Charlie has been looking so bloody constipated. My beloved little one is a girl. Actually, thinking about it, she's been a bit off the last few days. I hope she's not planning to lay an egg again. It's not actually good for her health. She's not meant to be laying eggs. Here I say, she has never laid eggs before. She is about 7 years old. So now she's about 10, right? So laying eggs is not really something she should be doing, and I have to be careful to make sure she goes to bed at sundown. There's no light, it's not too much noise, she's not kept awake, otherwise she starts laying eggs. It does something to her body clock, and it's actually a bit life-threatening, quite frankly. Last time she laid an egg, which was about a year ago, she got egg bound. Oh, I freaked out, man. I thought I was going to lose her. And so I frantically Googled what to do, and they said to put her in like a warm bath, like bucket of warm water. So I put her in the laundry tub and so this plastic bucket of warm water and just kept massaging with olive oil and just gently massaged. And anyway, they said it would happen that the egg would come out after about 10 or 15 minutes, and then it didn't, and then I started freaking out that she was going to die, so I started bawling my eyes out, completely going to breakdown mode, and I thought, well, all I can do is just keep massaging and keep hoping for the best. And then after about 20 minutes, she was able to finally release that egg. I tell you, the look of relief on her little face and the look of relief on mine was priceless. I was like, please don't lay any more eggs, Charlie. Please, but we must be more careful to not keep you up at night. And we must be really more careful. And please don't lay any more eggs. And she was like, okay, Mama. And thankfully since then she hasn't. But yeah, it's still a bit of a worry. 28th of December 2019, 11:11 p.m. Angels hear my call. Love me to the end of this paradigm and beyond. Call me home. Kiss me and let me soar free. Really was not well that year after that surgery. I was still on a very fine thread attached to death, very much so. So it's freaking probably, yeah, it was a hard year, 2019. But you know what? I'm glad it happened because it presaged the COVID epoch. So when the COVID thing all started and they're like, we're all gonna die, I was like, yeah, but not today, probably not tomorrow either. And I was just that frickin' sanguine about the whole thing. I could see through all of it that it was just hysteria of, well, mass formation hysteria. But anyway, here we are now, 2023, same time of year, 4 years later, and life is starting to balance out. I mean, I still have terrible troubles with my love life, attracting people who are weird and bit nutty and disingenuous. But what else is new? Same old, till I get off that groove. But anyway, it's in the lap of the gods if they ever allow me to have a true love partner. I have no say in it at all. Just why I keep dancing as hard and as fast as I can in honour of the gods who completely have me under their thumb, right? 9:21 a.m. So in the last few days of 2019, which has been another difficult year but intensively healing, I managed to be arse-kicked by a pinched sciatic nerve in my left buttock, which makes it hard to walk or even lie comfortably in bed. I think I got a little chill from the fan blowing cool air on my hot menopausal tuchus, that means bottom, as I throw my doona off when I overheat. I didn't go dancing last night as I felt exhausted. Then this happened as well. Oh well, more resting, then perhaps I will drag myself out later with a sciatic nerve. You go, Mama T, you intrepid woman, you. Oh my goodness. Sometimes I blow my own mind, seriously. 28th of December, 2018. Here I am, all with all my Viking beads, looking joyous. I liked those glasses. I lost them in the surf at Byron. I'm very upset about that. They were designer glasses too. Here's the rest of me. Today I'm healing from the horror of Christmas Eve and other foul abandonments. Oh, same old, same old. To the Tanya. Don't cry, get happy, baby. Same repeat pattern. Maybe E.T. will beam me up one day, or the gods will send me the one. I was telling my Muslim cleaning lady Rati, who's a wonderful woman, that I've been waiting for the one so long that when he comes, he'll probably be the Messiah, Mashiach, and even then I'll say, sorry, you're not good enough for me, I need a real man. And she's like looking at me like this, because it sounds so, what's the word, sacrilegious and blaspheming, but it's true, you know. I honestly think the Holy One is holding back my life partner to kind of torture me. It's kind of some whimsical joke on his part. And if he did send me the one, I'll be like, nah, oh, it wasn't ready, or that's not right either. I really think that's what will happen. It probably has happened in the past. My lovely Viking pirate man that I met, for example, a few years ago, he was sweet. Anyway, you never know what the gods have in store for me. It's just continuous foul abandonments that I have to continuously rise above, darling. Here I write, I'm sitting on the grass, lovingly cradled by the earth. My heart is reconverging its brokenness. I am being seen and loved by my beautiful bird Charlie and my dog Beauregard. Just might plug us in again. I am grateful for the love from, oh dear goddess, I'm not even going to name those people because they abandoned me too. So we'll edit them out. I am grateful for the love, bleep bleep, and Lynn and Terry and Karen. Oh, well, you can bleep Terry and Karen too. Bleep bleep. Laura and Louise. Now, Laura and Louise and Lynn remain my most loving, sincere, gorgeous friends who do message me, Laura in Canada and Louise in Manchester, and Lynn, who is always present close to me in 3D reality in my life, close by, right? Who have checked in with me and honoured me with their love and time in recent days. Thank you. And the thank you still goes out to the bleepsters as well, because they were, obviously I was grateful, heartfelt, genuinely grateful to them at that point in time before they all just went bleep, 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 bleep. And did I mention bleep? I mean, you have to laugh, but it's humans, you know. My life is extraordinary in its traumas and deep spiritual gifts, and I remain hopeful that the time is coming when the spirits, gods, elementals will permit me a love that is big and true, respectful and loyal, life-affirming and blessed. And here we are, 3 years later, still waiting. Until that time arises, I need to be the love that was so scorned and scarified. I need to be one with my God and all that is, so that no one, no man, woman or child can ever hurt or betray me again. Well, I guess that will happen when I leave this mortal coil and merge with the Ein Sof Or, where all is love and light for eternity. And then I'll probably get bored after a while and ask to be reincarnated in physical form again and do this fucking dance again for however long the great master decides I need to be whittled and whelped and formed and evolve and, yes, work out all my old traumas and disappointments and disarray and despair, lets me have eternal bliss. One day maybe, one day or night or blip in eternity. I continue here, a mission that was always my life's quest, to rise above the filth, the torture, and to become worthy, lovable, whole, which in actual fact I always was, even when I was being tortured by malfeasant, low-level entities in my family of origin, later in my marriage. I was always worthy, lovable, and whole. Remember that, people. Whatever broke you cannot break you forever. Your soul is always a perfect one. Never let the bastards grind you down. Be your own god or goddess under the all-seeing eye of the Creator that made us whom we are today, right? The good, the bad, the ugly, the apathetic and the indifferent, the pathetic and the avoidant, and the sadistic and the cruel and the perverted hold no sway over you, only as long as you allow it. Hold your head up high and dance. Sing, make music, make love to your true beloveds who treat you with honour, respect, integrity, and sweetness and kindness and heartfelt, joyful, abiding, true, loyal, faithful love. That's what I'm holding out for, babies. I'm only holding out for it because I'm curious if it might actually manifest one day. So if you ask me why I'm alive today, it's actually pure and simple out of merest curiosity, hoping against hope that I witness the most powerful, potent, incredible love manifest in my own life. My Bichette coming to me one day with true heartfelt intentions and actually following through, not playing malfeasant, idiotic, schoolboyish games like I've had with every other male partnership in the past. Some of them not quite so schoolboyish, but life-threatening. Sick it was. Anyway, here we are. This is going to be intense, so you can turn off now if you've got fragile ego state, or if your nerves are shattered, or you have trauma issues like me. This is what I have lived with and survived in my life, right? Timeline of illnesses, abuses, and near-death experiences. I wrote this on the 28th of December 2018. The comments are from my contribution to a shamanism group. Death and I have long held hands and danced. Infancy. I was slowly starving from reflux, had to be hospitalised. This was by the time I was 6 months old, by the way. I narrowly missed being killed in a landslide, which missed my crib by a metre, 6 months old. That was in our house in Holloway Road in Tiaro, Wellington. Half the house slipped down the hill and narrowly missed taking me with it. Age 3, had surgery to remove a cancerous growth on my mouth. Age 4, I nearly died of whooping cough and measles. Age 6, bacterial meningitis from the hot pools in Rotorua, New Zealand. 4 other children died from that at that time. My mad, bad parents drove from Rotorua to Wellington, which is I think about 4 hours drive, I can't remember, it's a long drive. From Rotorua to Wellington, screaming constantly while my head swelled up twice its size and I floated in and out of my body for hours, actually well aware that I was on the brink of death, even though I was only a child. Having nearly died when I was 4, I knew what that felt like, right? And they screamed, and they, instead of stopping at somewhere where there was a hospital, they drove and screamed the entire way. That's how negligent and acopic and abusive they were. Age 6 to 8, suffered from child sexual abuse from my godfather, also domestic violence. I was thrown into a glass door by my mother when I was age 6. And if you want to read more about how I describe that, it's on Vocal Media in a story I wrote called The Dybbuk on the Roof. And it's chapter 1. I describe that vivid memory of slipping between this world and the next as I slid down the glass, waiting for the glass to shatter and cut me to pieces, by the way, which fortunately it did not. But that was the moment when I realised that my mother was a maniac and I was not safe with her, which was a bone-crushing ontological shock for a 6-year-old. Age 7, broken wrist, happened at a government-mandated health camp. I was sent there for my chronic bronchitis, by the way. I was pushed off a monkey bar, cut to the knee almost, I know this is at the same year that I was 7. So this was another event that happened when I was still 7. Should have clarified that. There was a cut to my knee almost to the bone. I still have the scar to this day from that event. There was a bad car accident. I survived with only mild shock. There was another incident that year when I nearly fell to my death down a cliff while flax jumping because I ran out of flax and had to climb back up the cliff, pulling on the already loosened flax bushes from me sliding down them. It was very dangerous. It was a 100-foot drop, and when I realised that I'd run out of bush and that I was going to fall to my death, there was a moment of extreme panic and I had to climb back up the cliff, which, by the way, was no easy feat for a 7-year-old to do. It's amazing what you'll do to survive, though. You find a way out of all sorts of weird situations. Ages 9 to 10, more sexual harassment from my new de facto stepfather. Age 11 until recent years, first signs of depression and complex PTSD, which I have lived with since early childhood, for obvious reasons aforementioned. I spent 20 years from 30 to 51 on antidepressants and low-dose antipsychotics for my trauma and anxiety. I struggled with asthma and or bronchitis since the whooping cough incident when I was 4. Age 13, bad abscess on the tooth. Front tooth died, lost the whole tooth. Age 29, strangled, came close to death, stared my attacker in the eyes, he let me go. I was instructed, ironically, by a fortune teller a few months earlier that event was going to happen, and I thought she was mad and confabulating. And she said, "Don't fight back, Tanya, he will murder you. Just gaze into his eyes." And after that, she says, "I can't predict if you will survive or not, but I adjure you, do not fight. Go within and pray to your God." And so I did, and miraculously, that animal let me go. And that's why I'm alive today. Age 32, strangled by a boyfriend after my divorce. Second strangulation. Age 33, strangled by a new lover, David Davidson, who haunted me in 2016 when he died. Almost died of an asthma attack that year, which would have been precipitated by the trauma of having had my third strangulation. The first one was orchestrated by my husband, but I couldn't prove it. I could have technically proved it because my friend witnessed him handing the money to my attacker, but it's their word against ours, I guess, so I couldn't technically prove. But, if I'd taken my ex-husband reported to the police about that first strangulation and said that I witnessed him hand money over, well, I didn't witness it, Jared witnessed it, I might have still had my business and my marital home, and he might have been squatting in jail for the rest of his life for attempted manslaughter, right? So I made a terrible mistake not reporting that event to the police. But I was in the throes of leaving that evil, disgusting man and that evil, disgusting marriage. And I was frightened for the safety of my children, quite frankly. I just wanted to get away. So there is that. My friend Jared informed me on Boxing Day, and I've been wondering why I've been dredging up all this ugliness from that ancient past from 29 years ago, because that man is not in my life, right? But Jared informed the other day that my daughter, my eldest daughter, is hunkered down for Christmas in distress, not wanting to spend it with anyone, like I do every year, right? For the same reasons. Because my ex-husband constantly abuses her, tells her that she looks like me, which she does look like me, a lot. But she also looks a lot like his mother of blessed memory. So it's putrid that he throws in her face that she's ugly and looks like me or whatever, still carrying on with his abuse dynamic that he did to me during my marriage. That's why I didn't stay. Like, hello. Eventually even Muggins had enough of that. Anyway, and Jared informed me that he was having a fight with Crystal a couple of months ago and told her to shut up Tanya. So he's fucking at 69 years of age, obsessing over our ancient past together too. So I've been wondering why I've been dredging him up in all my memories, lately. A man I never think about. I have so much disdain and contempt for him. He doesn't blip on my radar, hasn't for 20 years. And I was wondering why I was having nightmares of him 5 months ago, just before Beauregard died actually. So Beauregard's been gone 4 months. Yes, it was about 6 months ago. I was dreaming of my ex-husband. I never dream of him. My subconscious does not even allow him to infest my dreams. And I actually said to my daughter Crystal at that time, I said, "Is your father ill? Is he dying or something?" She says, "Oh, why do you ask that, Mum?" I said, "I'm having nightmares of him and it's very strange." And I said, to be fair, I usually very often will dream of, former friends or family members, when they pass over. I said, "So why am I dreaming of your father? He's still alive, isn't he?" She said, "Yes." And then a couple of months later, she said, "Actually, Mum, Dad thought he was dying." I went, "Oh, well, there you go. I've been thinking I'm dying too with my bladder issues and my poor health." I said, "Well, you better be a little bit kind to him." I said, "He is your father and he's 69. He's not young anymore. He's 11 years older than I." And I said, "Bear in mind, your mother's not young anymore either, and my health's been precarious all my fucking life." I said, "So expect that things are going to start to go south with one or either of us." Well, she didn't take that very well, did she? Anyway, so now I discover on Boxing Day via Jared, who still communicates with Crystal, that, her father's been an absolute asshole to her and goes down, spends time with my younger daughter Jasmine and favours her over Crystal and sends photos of them playing happy families and shoves it in her face. I mean, it's just putrid. It's just putrid beyond belief. Meanwhile, oh, that's hilarious. Meanwhile, I'm just keeping to myself. I'm just laughing because I see my neighbour Peter's visiting his friend across the road and he's walking around the garden. I was just wondering what he's doing, wandering around, probably looking for the little dogs, probably looking after their dog while they're on holiday. Anyway, I'm laughing because he kind of dropped me like a hotcake when I said that I had a new flame arising in my life. This was 2 months ago when I thought something lovely was going to come of that thing. And he and his partner dropped me thinking, oh, well, she's got a new man. She doesn't need us probably. And they were wrong because I never got the new man and I'm sitting here all alone as per usual, sanguinely laughing at the whole fucking farce of it all. I see him peering around. Oh well, he's dropped me like a hot cake because he was jealous that I might have a love partner, because he had a little bit of a, he had a little bit of a thing for me, even though I said I'm not interested in you that way, and you will get back with your partner because you love each other. And so they did. So I did the honourable and right thing, right? My conscience is clear, as per usual. My clear conscience means I spend the rest of my time alone without the one, but that's okay too. I'd rather that than be with someone who's obsessive and not healthy for me and cruel, like I had with my ex-husband. So anyway, I segued out of there, but I wanted to explain about the strangulations, because that was what was actually going on there, and that's the truth, and I'll keep my truth to the day I die. But yeah, my daughter needs to cut ties to her father if he's going to continuously abuse her, because she's done nothing wrong. She can't help that she looks like me and his mother. It's not her fault. It's genetics, babies. Anyway. Age 33, strangled by a new lover, David Davidson. Almost died of asthma attack. 2007, age 42, major surgery, which was my hysterectomy, bladder repair, when they installed the alien TVT tape that has affected my autoimmune system. And I was hitched up because I'd had a prolapse as well. So that was a terrible surgery. And again came home to utmost abuse from my own younger daughter. Ugliness beyond belief. So this is why I stay on my own, people. It's the only way to stay sane and safe when you're surrounded by monsters. Disengage from them and just live your best life as best as you can, given the circumstances. 2012, age 47, septic arthritis, and that event was also awful because I was abandoned and abused in my time of need, feeling very weak and vulnerable indeed. But I saw the vision of the Aboriginal spirits there at the PA hospital, who appeared to me as though looking through a viewfinder of, those viewfinder things you used to put photographs in, you'd see the photograph come up. It looked like that, like a history channel of this family around a campfire. And the elderly patriarch of the family, the elder, wouldn't look at me because in their culture they don't look at women. So he stood facing side on, looking straight ahead, not at me. And the two women spirits were just wearing loincloths and bare-breasted. So it must have been, from before white colonialism, way back when. Those spirits were that ancient. But the older woman, like the mother and the young teenage daughter, were looking at me and just smiling and nodding. And in telepathy, they said to me, "You will be okay." And do you know, I was so grateful for that vision that I told the nurse, said, "I've just been shown this and I'm going to be okay." He said, "I'll put you in the psych ward. You're not on any psychotropic medication. You shouldn't be hallucinating. All you've had is IV antibiotics, so therefore you're mad." And I looked at him and I said, "I'm not mad, I'm psychic." Anyway, he was a nasty, nasty man. I said, "This hospital is built on traditional Aboriginal lands. It's only natural that psychic people like me are going to be comforted by those spirits from time to time." He said, "That's a lie. This hospital's not built on Aboriginal land. You're crazy." He was a complete fucking monster, this man. A Catholic nurse, by the way. Got nothing against Catholics, but this man was a monster. And so I just sat there, thought, I'm going to have to go within to survive this man. I was very ill anyway. So I just laid on my bed and peed a lot, got up to pee a lot, drank tea and recovered as best as I could till they sent me home, right? Anyway, when I told Jared about that, he said he's a monster, Tanya, because there's actually a little cottage dedicated as a museum to the original owners of the land, the Aboriginal owners. It's there on the hospital grounds. So he said, what kind of idiot was he to not even know that when he works at that hospital, right? I said, oh, he was just an ass. One of these people that tried to kill me when I was already low and vulnerable and at my weakest point. I had that a lot, including from my family of origin, including from my own daughters. They would wait till I was half fucking dead, fighting off both the hysterectomy in recovery and the septic arthritis, right? And they would sadistically kick me when I'm down, which is why I'm just done. I don't want that in my life. You know, I don't want people like that in my, even if they're in my own blood. It's like, fuck off. Seriously. I told my elder daughter recently, a couple of months ago, that I thought I was going to die of my bladder complaint, which was a very real, I was up 20 times 2 nights ago. I've been very ill. And she told me to produce a letter from a palliative team doctor to prove that I'm dying, that I'm full of shit, and she doesn't believe me, and she will need proof. So I got very distressed and triggered by that, because my sister pulled the same stunt when our mother was dying. And I said to my sister, I've been watching Gisela die now for 2 months. She is going to die, Angela. Oh, well, I need proof from a doctor. So when the palliative team finally got involved at Redlands Hospital and agreed to put in a Grayson's pump for my mother so she could have morphine administered appropriately and regularly instead of leaving her writhing in agony, and I was fighting the hospital team every time because I would go home exhausted and they would not administer the morphine while I was at home, right? Leave my mother suffering like an animal. I'd look at the chart and I'd say, they've withheld the morphine again. So I was literally chasing them, saying, how dare you treat my mother like this? I mean, my mother was my monster, my primordial monster, but she's still a human being and deserves proper treatment like every other human being on this planet when they're dying. It's disgusting is what it was. So anyway, they called in the palliative team, administered the Grayson's pump, got her all tickety-boo, and I said to the palliative team doctor, a woman, I said, can you please let my sister know in New Zealand that her death is now imminent, because she doesn't believe me. Oh, it's not my role to ring family members. I said, please, I beg you, here is my mobile phone. I will dial the number. All you need to do is give 5 minutes of your time. Tell my sister that her mother is dying. She won't believe me. So she said, oh, this is highly unusual. I said, well, I come from a toxic family dynamic. So yes, it is unusual. Can you please support me in this, doctor? So she did. She rang my sister. Oh, Mrs. Stewart. Rang her. Mrs. Stewart, your mother has approximately, she said, 4 to 6 weeks to live. Oh, I'll be there immediately. The thing would not believe me, who was actually supporting our mother in her declension from her life on this planet for 18 months prior, but she'd believe a professional doctor. I was disgusted, absolutely disgusted. But anyway, bear that as it may, she did fly immediately to have her closure and her goodbyes, which I encouraged. I said, you need closure. You need to see to her before she goes. And the enmity and the viciousness when the will dispute came out, it was just more putrescence and seepage of sewage, really. It was just ugliness beyond belief, which meant that I remained in a kind of a fugue state, broken down, for a good few years after, until 2015. Here we are, 22nd of August 2015. Almost 3 years after that will dispute ended, I was still suffering like an animal. Suicide attempt, age 50. Now, there were a lot of other factors that went into that attempt. It wasn't just over that. There was a lot of other evil shit going down. And quite frankly, I was so astonished to wake up in hospital alive. So astonished. But the gods sent me back yet again, determined for me to prosper and thrive, and to finally and eventually, at the appointed time, with a person that the gods think is worthy of my love and my light and my fight to self-determination and my freedom and my wildness and my magic. At the appointed time, the gods will allow me, the one human mortal man capable of being my partner, sexually, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, financially, honouringly. That's the only reason they keep vomiting me back to earth, right? To have my true destiny, which, by the way, I keep aspiring for, I keep waiting for, I keep manifesting. Under the eye of the one who gifted me my soul and this incarnation and this life journey to build me and rebuild me and rebuild me after every ground zero devastation. 3rd of June 2016, finally weaned myself off all psych meds after I realised that not even death will take me, and the psych meds did not help me. 2015 to 2016 and 2017, summers, teeth, nerve and TMJ pain in the joint here. 2008, so that was 3 summers I lost, writhing in agony because the QE2 public dental hospital couldn't find a little hole just under the gum line. It's how unprofessional and incompetent they are and were and are. But I had also joint pain and other issues. 3 entire summers writhing in agony with that. I lost. And it was very hard to not suicide again, even though I was still in recovery from the 2015 event, because I was literally writhing in constant chronic agony. So the suicidal ideation was running concurrent with that the whole time. Plus, still being in love with Dave, the psycho sadist that followed me around at the casino and everywhere else, constantly flicking at me when I was actually trying my level best to stay alive in my own body, mind and spirit and jaw. Jesus, I don't know how I did it. 2018, summer again, January to March, nerve pain in my legs. My left leg would actually collapse out from under me. I don't know what brought that on either. Current illness at time of writing, gallstones, fatty liver. That was in 2018, I listed all this, right? Obstructive sleep apnea, reflux. Still suffer with CPTSD, which I will for the rest of my life, by the way, people. The one that comes into my life has to understand complex PTSD. He has to be either a therapist or he has to be a survivor himself, or he's never going to understand me and be on my page. That's also limiting my chance in the whirlpool of potential partners. Occasional suicidal ideation. This was still in 2018. I do still occasionally have that, yes, not as severely, not as chronically, but it still floats in and out from time to time. The spirits simply won't let me go. Lol. Laughing out loud. It's become almost comical, except not. I may not be a shaman. I have since actually changed my mind on that. I am a shaman. I've got the life history of trauma, near-death experiences, close shaves with death, the lifetime of enmity and treachery and ugliness and putrescence that I had to rise above. I've got that. I might not have the lineage, but I have got the path, the walk, people. So only really in the last 2 years or so, 2-3 years, have I taken ownership that I am indeed a shaman. I might not be a shaman practitioner though, so don't all pile on and ask me to heal you, but my healing does take place sometimes in extraordinary ways, in extraordinary times, randomly, and has been known to happen. And I have a few people that are equally as broken as mine, having had similar experiences of childhood abuse, that do lean on me quite heavily at times for support, expecting me to be their goddess and heal them. And it's overwhelming and draining on me at times, to be honest, because ultimately we are all responsible for our own healing and our own walk and our own path. Can't ask another human to just wave a magic wand and fix it for you. You have to do your own work. That is the reality, people. A shaman can only point to you where the work is most needed. Like in my case, it's still my inner wounding from my childhood abuse that meant that I could never trust in love. And when I did trust and love rather naively and foolishly, I was literally brought almost to my own death. So here I am, 30 years later, still struggling to find real love. But I've done a lot of work on that, and technically, magically, ideally, the one should be imminent, because I've done so much fucking work on myself, and ultimately there's only so much you can do. It takes two to be in a relationship, two loving hearts joining together powerfully and beautifully, seeing each other, valuing and cherishing each other. Not me doing it all by myself, spinning on a dime. Nuh-uh, fools. But anyway, back in 2018 when I wrote this, I said I may not be a shaman, because I wasn't completely wanting to take ownership of a title that I did not necessarily have the right to have that title, right? I am a Jew and an ancestral witch. I am alive against all odds, and when more sensible women would have died by now. I am whom I am becoming. Mostly alone, unloved, except by spirits, and a few rare friends and my pets. I am done with this life, but I am still very much here and go dancing each weekend, even with former lovers coming to taunt me. Dave, Marco, a few other of the ragtag fucking things that just went nowhere. Maybe I am far too resilient. Maybe I am far too valuable to my trickster gods. Maybe I will let it go. I will let it all go one day. And after the near-death experience in 2019, I was told in no uncertain terms, you can't let any of it go. We're sending you back. And I begged them, please, just let me go this time. Let it all end. And they said, no, we're sending you back to a hellscape of epic proportions, but you, Tanya, will be okay. And I said, I don't want to just be okay. I want to thrive. I want to live fully, vibrantly, abundantly, prosperously. I want the love of my life. I want to be surrounded by good, kind, honourable, decent, respecting, caring people, my tribe, my community, my lover, my lover man, my true love partner, one, not many, one. I'm fine-tuning it, because I realised the other day, a few weeks ago, there's 5 men all looking very excited when I turn up to dance, looking very heartfelt and sweet. 5 men showing genuine interest, which I've had to kind of carefully tamp down and dance around. I don't want 5 sexual partners. I want one who's sincere and genuine and chooses me. Just one, not 5. But this is how I know, people. This is a sign from the gods that I'm ready, and that the one that's meant to be with me is also ready. It might not have manifested just yet in my life, but all this stirring up of emotions and even the hormones being flicked back into life again is a preparation for the time. The time is here. It's just preparing the way for me to be able to accept and trust in it, right? I think that's what's happening. If nothing else, it got me a bit stimulated and got my hopes up yet again. But yes, I was sent back against my own will, people. I was fighting in that hospital room, the spirits, begging them, please don't torture me anymore. I can't do it. And there were witnesses, because there was a woman in the bed next to me listening to me talking to the spirits and begging them to just end it now. I was literally watching my last breath like a red ribbon flowing into the eternity, following it when they stepped in and said, no, we're sending you back. That's my path and my walk with the gods. So here we are, 4.5 years later, and I'm happy. I'm the happiest I've probably ever been in my life, even with my flagging bladder that's not functioning very well. It's overactivated, even with the concurrent insomnia, even with the heartache over false men and feckless players. I'm happy. I'm grateful to be alive. I'm even beautiful again in my own body, mind and spirit. Maybe I'm delusional. I mean, I've never been a great beauty, people, since early childhood when all the damage was inflicted on me. But I'm coming back on my little circle, home to myself. And I'm in love with life. and I'm in love with my gods. And if truth be known, there's a couple of men out there, one who hurt me, destroyed me greatly, I still have a bit of love for. We'll never be together because he was a monster, not my ex-husband, someone else. And there's another man also that I have deep love for that I can't be with because he's married. So there is love that I've poured out into people that is still, after all this time, still held precious, even if only by the gods. And that love that is poured out to dead ends and brick walls, cast out by fate, will be returned to me one day by a loving, kind, honouring man who's handsome and sweet and gentle and respects me as a woman, as a Jew, as a shaman, as a spirit, and will choose me every day and be happy with that choice, because he will think I'm absolutely wonderful and he will never strive to hurt me. And that's my prayer. That's my prayer, people. Ridiculous schoolgirl prayer that it is. That's my prayer. I responded to a commentator who said that I was amazing. This is on the shamanism group that I'm writing for here. Thank you. I don't feel amazing. Mostly just very, very broken. But I am like kintsugi, moulded by spiritual gold and carrying on. The strangulations were men trying to destroy me. First one was set up by my husband. I was separating, and the second two were partners. I gave up on love and sexuality for many years after. Child sexual abuse leaves a stain for the rest of our lives. Hard to overcome it and attract truly good, kind people. But I keep believing in myself, as I have survived so many monsters, mostly from my own family. My vicious half-sister actually bought me a talk about 15 years ago. When it wore out, my elder daughter bought me another one in Glastonbury, a Viking one. They recognised my status as a warrior goddess, as I survived even their cruelties. It seems so absurd that one woman could be dogged by so much evil. My daughter threw in my face about my suicide attempt on Christmas Eve and hurt me greatly. But I know it is my mother's evil spirit riding her as I moved her old couch out of my house a week before Christmas Eve. My mother was German and a Lutheran. I converted to Judaism when I was 19, so being vicious on Christmas Eve was an old family trope which my daughter was unable to resist. Let's face it, probably channeling her grandmother. So, fuck all that shit. If all the gods are one, interconnected unity, then it's all bollocks, innit? But my mother still will not cede control, even almost 9 years after her death. And she's been gone, it'll be 14 years in March next year, and she has ceded control. It took a long time, but she has slowly backed off a bit. Although there was a little bit of haunting and poltergeist activity around Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, there was still that little bit of an energy just giving me a little bit of a flick, but I just ignored it. I carry hefty karma. My grandmother suicided when she was 54. I will be 54 in April. But I think I'll be okay. Had my little tango with Lady Death 3 years ago and was saved by spirits nagging a psychic friend to check on me. She resisted, but the spirits kept nagging her. I was very angry at the time to be stymied against my own will. That was in 2015, and the other stymieing on the 25th of June 2019. And there were a few more scary close events with death later in November that year. So they kept at me until I realised I'm not allowed to die. I have to just choose life and fully, vibrantly integrate and reactivate my life in every aspect of my being, including teaching myself silversmithing for the last 3 years. After the heartache again with my daughter a few days ago, I wonder why I'm kept alive for. Infuriating. But I am alive, so that is that. My timeline is constantly tweaked or interfered with. It gets harder to stay on Earth as each year passes. In particular, when I lost Beauregard on the 1st of August this year, I really wanted to leave with him. And what do the gods do? Mischievous and capricious as they always are. 2 weeks later, they sent me this trickster man, teasing me along sexually and romantically, leading me into false delusions that I might finally have a loving partner come into my life, might finally have met the one. No. But it was delightful anyway, that little tease from the multiverses. Hope someone got something out of it. Certainly stirred up old emotions, both negative and positive, and kicked my hormones back into gear. That was astonishing, given that we didn't even kiss or have any sexual, anything of a sexual nature. So, life goes on, babies. Life goes on. And as I say, I'm curious to see who shows up in my life and proves himself worthy of me. It really comes down to that. It gets harder to stay on Earth as each year passes. I'm writing this 2018, and that remains quite true. But I promised myself a good life before I leave this mortal coil, still holding on for an authentic love partner. 5 years later, still holding on, babies. It hasn't happened in 53 years or 58 years now, so what the fuck is that about? But the gods keep me for their entertainment or emotional torture victim. Who knows? I guess I will find out one day when I transfer my essence to the Ein Sof All. Addendum. I came close to death again on 25th, 26th of June 2019 after my gallbladder surgery, cholecystectomy. It was an epic fight the next morning with the specialist team and my daughter when she picked me up. But at the time of posting this, 17th of September 2019, I am slowly healing. I have had a beautiful few days, and I remain stoically determined to have my beautiful life, even if it seems absurdist and delusional. Oh, bless. I am not giving up on love, life, or my personal healing. Winky face. And no, I'm not. I had too much robbed of me by malfeasant, low entity dogs to ever give up on my dreams, my hopes, and my aspirations. So there you have that. Gesundheit, by the way. I need to add to the near-death thing that during my mother's gestation with me, she attended an abortion clinic with my then 14-year-old half-sister, intending to abort me. Angela, who in that instance performed the function of a real mother, painful for me to acknowledge after all the abuse, but important as it was a hefty emotional burden on a teenage girl who herself had just survived CSA from the ages of 6 to 10, begged our mother to keep me while sitting in the waiting room of the abortion clinic. My mother later informed me as an adult woman that she had had 5 abortions after Angela's birth, performed by a Jewish doctor in return for sexual favours, as post-war poverty was endemic. Horrific. It's just horrific. That after arriving in New Zealand in 1956, she stopped having periods for years due to the trauma of migrating to a new country with her abusive second husband, the New Zealand airman who had shell shock and tried to kill my mother on the ship sailing to New Zealand. And my sister, my half-sister, who at that time was 6 years old, literally had to drag on my mother's legs and scream while he was trying to push her overboard. And finally people came to my mother's rescue. That airman spent the rest of the voyage in the ship's brig. He was that fucking dangerous. Then my mother fell pregnant with me with her third husband, my father, David Phillips. So I had already experienced the feeling of being unwanted in utero, and after being delivered 1 month early by caesarean, due to Gisela suffering toxemia as it was an emergency delivery, I was a failure to thrive baby, suffering terrible reflux and was literally starving and ended up hospitalised. I was fed 2 whole bottles of formula, which one bottle holds 300 mils, right? So I drank a pint of milk, 600 mils of milk, burped, then passed out and slept 24 hours. To this day, I need to be well satiated. That last surgery was incredibly fraught, but I am fully engaged with life again. I am grateful and happy to be alive and thoroughly lapping up the love and kindness and support from all my true beloveds. Thank you. Kiss, kiss, kiss. I threw in the true, by the way, because there was a lot of ugliness that went down in the last 4 years as well, but I won't dwell on that. I will dwell on the people that are showing me heartfelt intentions and love and kindness that I'm experiencing for the first time in many years in my dance space at the Brooklyn Standard. Absolutely, astonishingly, poignantly beautiful it is. Looking forward to going dancing tomorrow night, by the way. I won't be going out on New Year's Eve because I can't afford it and I don't like intense crowds. But tomorrow I think should be a good night. I don't think it'll be too crowded, as most people are away on holidays, you know. Should be fine. and I'm looking forward to it, as I do every Friday night. I'm also happy to say that with that couch, the Horcrux, leaving my home, which is from Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling described Horcruxes. That's where I get that from, people. Leaving my home on 26th of February, there has finally been a releasing of my mother's alter hexa, means old witch, spirit. It took until recently for the weight of her oppression to finally lift. May she finally find rest and peace with the Ein Sof Or and stay away from me for the rest of eternity. Amen. V'salah. I pray our soul contracts with each other are finally done. 28th of December 2017, 11:27 a.m. Just got up. It's raining, hot and humid, but wet. The garden will appreciate it. What can I tell you? 6 days after today, my daughter incoming. Woot! I had some weird dreams this morning. In one, I was taking Tony Childs on a tour of what looked like the Wairarapa, the craggy outcrops I used to fantasize about visiting from my home in Island Bay. Across the harbour on the opposite side of the most southern parts of the North Island, I dreamed we went shopping in a fancy mall reminiscent of Sanctuary Cove or Marina Mirage here on the Gold Coast. Then we popped into one fancy store to visit a friend of hers who owned it, and for some reason I laid down my ancient musk-wash coat on a chair along with an old suit and left it there while Tony and I went to visit a magical place. Tony Childs and I were friends for a few years on Facebook, and she was very loving and kind and supportive towards me as a fellow survivor of CSA. So that's partly why I was she was appearing in my dreams, because we actually did have an online friendship for a while. She was amazed on Facebook. I mean, not interpersonally, like contacting each other, offline, but just via that medium of Facebook. She was amazed when I started floating in the air and turning around in circles 6 feet off the ground. How are you doing that, Tanya? Just imagine you are pure light, Tony, and you float up. It's awesome. Not sure how to get back down to the ground though, and I giggled like a chortling schoolgirl. Next thing I knew, I'm back at the mall in the store, and I asked the shop owner if my coat sold. He says, "Oh, that's interesting. I did sell a fur coat a few years ago with great difficulty to a guy that wanted to wear it at a bush bash." Oh, anyway, he says, "No, come pick it up. I got better things to do than sell old lady fur coats," with a wave of his hand in annoyance. It was very high camp, this shopkeeper. Underneath the large this is in the dream, people, but I still remember that person in my dream being high camp. Underneath the large upholstered chair were tiny perfume bottles. "You can have them if you want." So I crawl on the carpet and gather up the bottles, like about 20 or 30 of them, stand up, smooth down my clothes, grab the fur coat and tailored suit, one I gave to my friend Ashley in real life. Tony says to the guy, "We're not going to have dinner together?" "Nah, I got other plans, a dinner date." We look at each other, a tad disappointed. I roll my eyes. Bloody men. Blech. We leave the store. The atmosphere, apart from the middle-aged, supercilious, mincing queen of a shop owner, was light. There was a golden glow to everything. I felt happy, even as I was rejected by the shopkeeper. When we were at the rocks and I flew or floated, I felt joyful and free. I did not care that I had no money or that I was perceived to be not good enough. In fact, I was literally elevated. No idea what the perfume bottles being gifted to me were, but I had to scramble on the floor under the chair what they were about. Anyway, the musquash coat still exists. I let Crystal use it for one of her plays, but it started unravelling and bits of its fur fell off. It is about 100 years old. I have not thrown it out yet or composted it. As you know, it was a gift from my godmother when I was 16 years old, and I cherished it. Those dead Alaskan water rats did not die in vain. I should do something with the remaining fur. I don't know what to make from it. Merkins? Laughing my ass off? I did get rid of it in the end. I have another coat from my mother that hangs useless in my wardrobe. Still wearable. I might donate that to a theatre one day. I sold it for, I think I got $70 for it from that lovely young man. He stirred feelings in me I hadn't recognised for about 10 years. It was delightful. But I sent him on his way. Far too young people. Anyway, that's how I realised I was coming back, even in my sexual energy, back to life. That's how dead I had tamped things right down for so long because of abusers. Denied even my own beautiful sexuality because of abusers, people. 28th of December 2015. I love my Chris Pantano balls I bought years ago at Montville. I used to love visiting his studio and watching him at work. Amazing stuff. And I've kept one, but I gave one to Jared as a birthday or Christmas present one year. So I thought, I don't need all this excess stuff, you know. So I sort of gradually decluttered and gave beautiful things away, or sold some beautiful things. And yeah, I'm happy with that. Annette visited and brought me a yummy lunch, cherries, plums and apricots and beautiful chocolates. We had a lovely time together watching Beauregard show off for her and playing with Mushu. Thank you, Annette. Kiss. I better get up to let Beauregard run amok. I have had 3 hours sleep, wired for sound. Gonna be crazy later, or fall back into bed. 5:34 a.m. I had a lovely night out last night. Danced until 2, then went outside to spend time with Katrina. She gave me a $5 chip as she can't cash it as she is banned from the casino. I told her I would change it but give the money back to her. She wanted me to keep the $5. This is my homeless friend, right? I changed it, gave it to her, then let her buy me a coffee at the 7-Eleven later on. So that $5 went backwards and forwards. She liked to spoil me sometimes because we were friends. You know, we're equals and we're friends. I do miss her sometimes. We sat until 4:30 a.m. Then I headed home in time to witness the most beautiful sunrise. Bobo was happy to see me. I took him outside for his morning ablutions, then brought him into my bed, but he had the bites and chewed my hands and arms and refused to settle, so he is back in his dog crate. Pity, I felt like a snuggle. Penny is here instead, curled up at my feet. He really annoyed her too. 28th of December 2014. It's hard not to get stuck in grief sometimes. I had a fight with my daughter who can't or won't relate to me emotionally. I went dancing last night. I keep moving through life even though it is plastic and full of mirrors and superficial and mostly fucked. But it's better than the zombie lifestyle I lived for over 20 years, a barely functioning automaton, determined to survive long enough to raise my kids, alone and with no real family support and no money. Well, I did it. I am a raging fucking success as a woman and a mother. I still don't know how I made it through, to be alive in this moment and to be the proud mother of adult children. No matter one rejected me out of hand because I am poor and damaged, and the other one thinks she can only be in my life because I emotionally blackmail her, which is horseshit. And the one that rejected me because I'm poor and damaged now earns $100,000 a year. Narcopath. But good on her that she's successful and earns good money and has a good life. Pity she had to do it by trashing her own mother though. Just saying. But I am happy that she's doing well in life. And apparently has a nice partner too. So I am a success as a mother. Even though they despise and hate me, treat me with contempt, they've turned out okay, successful in their own lives. But as to the emotional blackmail claim, I wrote, fuck that shit, fuck the hell off. I have faced death so many times, the bitch's love bites on my neck. I had to fend her off just to get us through, like literally being strangled by boyfriends at the time. I am not wanted, never was wanted. If I left this planet in a trice, no one would give a rat's ass except a few. 3 people might say, oh God, what a tragic waste. Those 3 people might be the only ones who know what it cost me ethically, financially, physically, emotionally, mentally, to be alive and yet still remain a loving, decent person. Everyone else would either be relieved or throw a fucking party. Well, I am worth more than that, and I know it. So I take up space and oxygen, and I dance and I laugh in the face of the absurdities of simply being me. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger and stronger, and yet still stronger. I am sick of being strong, alienated, cast aside, brutalized and used. Seriously, over it. What she said back in 2014, that still goes, people. 2023, almost 2024. There's been these Fallon fans, these plumbers, 2 vans just left. I wonder what house they went to. They've been here all day, up and down, driving up and down. It's odd. But not my monkey, not my circus. Socks just had a baby scrub turkey in his mouth. I had to prise his jaws open to free it. Then he raced after it again. It was laying on his back, playing dead. I grabbed Socks, put him inside, went to pick up the baby bird, but he ran away. Hopefully he doesn't die from his injuries. My friend Sally wrote, I tell you, he's a brutal killer, always was. I replied, he growled and snarled at me all night as I wouldn't let him outside to hunt. He really gave me a bollocking. Bloodthirsty little bastard. I let him out at 2 p.m. when I got up. He was so happy about that. Sally replied, keep him inside at night. He grew up used to that, little beggar. Kookaburras are singing their morning melody. Cats are purring. Crickets are chirping. I am happy, albeit exhausted. 4:10 p.m. Home safe. I had a great night out. Now can't feel my legs or feet. The nice hot shower helped wash the sweat off, but I really need to soak my tootsies. But I am too tired now. Time for a nice hot cup of tea, methinks. 28th of December 2013. I posted an article called Thaw in the South Pacific. This link was sent to me by my friend Jared, and having just read it in its entirety, it completely resonates with me as a New Zealander, and perhaps as a Viking of Scottish, ergo Norse descent. I am just blown away by the symbolism being so perfectly preserved, and the myth of the New Zealand fairy folk actually being ancient white people is also amazing and something that I'd read about long ago. It inspires me to once again purchase a greenstone tiki, which is the symbol of good luck, fertility, well, I'm past that stage, lol, and protection. I think it would be a wise amulet for a wise woman to at least have amongst my precious treasures. And thank you, Nigel in New Zealand, for facilitating finding me a beautiful tiki and posting it to me. I did give him the money for it, but he also, found it and purchased it for me and posted it to me, which was just loving. And I tell you what, it arrived at my front door. The postman had left it at my front door, and when I unwrapped it, it was actually hot in my hand. I could feel the energy and the heat in the greenstone, which was very unusual because greenstone's usually cool to the touch. So I said, that's got big mana, thank you, Nigel. And he was delighted that I was thrilled with it too. Interestingly, I have been wearing the African fertility goddess earrings that Carol bought me many years ago in Zimbabwe. So this is attracting synchronistic energy. While I may not be fertile physically anymore, I certainly could enjoy some rampant abundance and joyous reinvigoration and potential prosperity. Psychedelic dreamer dreams, sigh sighs, laughing my ass off. So hang on again, I forgot what year that was, 2013. So 10 years later, all together now. But I have a beautiful tiki and beautiful jewellery that I've bought or been gifted over the years, and beautiful jewellery that I've made, and true love is manifesting in my heart and soul, churning like a churning engine, jet engine about to take off. Maybe I meet him when I finally gather up enough money to fly home to New Zealand, because it's all like a jet engine. High vibration, ready to take off, darlings. But has to be the right man who will treat me with decency and honour and deepest, most heartfelt love and passion and romance too. I want it all, babies. I want it all. Someone kind, not a trickster, not a game player, and not a coward. 7:54 a.m. Still haven't been to bed. I found Hecate with a red raw chest and abdomen area. Looks like molt. Couldn't find any bird lice, but I gave her a cool bath and some natural pet soap I used on Bella. She seemed to find the bath a tad soothing, although I'm sure it was unorthodox treatment for a chook. Then I put aloe vera on the red sore skin. She also didn't fight me on this. I gave all 3 hens some worms, meaning earthworms, as extra protein is needed for feather production. Not sure what else to do. Hopefully the aloe vera heals the sore skin. I hadn't realised she was so bad until I had a good look at her this morning. The poor bedraggled creature is now trying to lay an egg, which is insane, as in the state she is in, she should be off the lay. 6:22 a.m. Still awake, still Facebooking. Wow. I had a lovely time with name redacted. I don't even want to mention that creep. So glad we went out. I needed to dance and rock out. Weather still looking murky here. Perhaps we will get the long-awaited storm. I am all revved up, so methinks today is the day. Did I mention I feel extraordinarily happy? Well, not too happy, but happier than usual. Going to get off the internet and go commune with my hens and goldfish, then perhaps sleep. Check yours. 3:39 a.m. Home safe from a great night rocking out with Burst and my favourite rock chicks. Names redacted because they all turned fucking evil and savage and vicious. But at that time, we were having wonderful times dancing together. So there is that. 28th of December, 2012. The lovely rainstorm, which smelt sweeter than honey when it came through, has lifted my spirits and refreshed my dehydrated old husk of a body. It's awesome. It will be great out tonight with the freshly electrically charged irons. I wonder if the men will be equally as charged. I might have to keep my eyes open, laughing my ass off. Oh dear goddess. Oh dear goddess. 8:43 a.m. Still knackered, but got woken up by the Brisbane City Council mowing men whippersnippering next to my car. So just got up and moved it up my driveway. Walking the zombie sleep of the almost dead was not pretty. Going back to sleep now. 4:33 a.m. Knackered. Put lots of stuff away, so reclaiming my space in the house. Surprising how quickly it gets out of control. Feeling happy now that I'm making progress. Dishes are done also. Bedding changed. Washing all done. I am ready for my big weekend. Well, almost. Still need to clean floors and a few other things. 28th of December 2011. Garden watered, dog defleed and bathed, music playing, might have a cheap wine and relax in the bath. Life is good. Thanks Hashem. for answering my prayers re heartworm and flea control. Now where is that other wish I was hoping to have fulfilled, like a lovely, sexy, devoted boyfriend? Oh well, time will tell, lol. And it didn't tell. It still hasn't manifested. But that's okay. I'm living my best life joyously and triumphantly, in spite of all the awfulness, people. I was impressed with yet another Hanukkah miracle this morning. I had been stressing over how I was going to afford to buy Miss Bella Rosa's flea and heartworm control, which was due today. I had worried for about 4 or 5 days, money being very tight, and I kept my word. Have you noticed how the light's just suddenly gone really dim? Must be a storm coming. And I kept my word to pay back the other Hanukkah miracle loan, as I was sort of going out of my mind with worry. I go out to the letterbox and you could have knocked me down with a feather. I had won a package of Revolution with 3 months' supply for participating in a survey on Paws Club. I just could not believe it. Not only is it extremely rare that I ever win anything, but the timing was perfect. So on went the revolution. Viva la revolution! But Miss Bella had other ideas. She managed to dunk herself while chasing her ball in my big bucket while I was collecting wormwee after flushing out the worm farm. So after the revolution came the cleansing in the bath. Ha ha ha. I just hope the stuff had enough time to soak into her skin and will keep the fleas off her. Lol. 28th of December 2010. Another lovely meal cooked by Gail tonight. Should redact that name too. Another monster that turned out to be. Oh, size. 15 years of friendship though. That was a long monstrosity, that one. Tandoori chicken with rice and kumara. I'm truly spoilt. Well, gratitude and appreciation is everything, even when it ended up being presented by sadistic monsters. What can I say? And thus concludes today's readings of Even Date, which have been intense. And so I need to go and eat something, have a little lie down now. So have a beautiful day, night, afternoon, evening. Those of you with Schadenfreude can just come back tomorrow for more of your sadistic delight fest. Those of you with genuine heartfelt love and compassion for me can just go, oh, bless Tanya. Hope you get your true love in the end. Hope life works out for you, because if anyone deserves it, it's you, baby girl. Little bit of projection on my part here, people. Just saying. And but anyway, I'm sure that there are many of you out there in YouTube world who watch my videos that get soul nourishing comfort from these truthful expressions, to know you're not the only one alone on this planet struggling to live your best life and make sense of your prior existence, and to have the life you choose and wish for and manifest. And we're on this journey together, people. We're living here on planet Earth in this strange inverted epoch together on the journey together, on the journey to wholeness, and on the journey to truest, deepest, most honouring love, and on the journey to creating a better planet for all of us to live on, those of us who are still here and strive to still be here in 10 years and 20 years or 100 years or 1,000 years, a better world for our progeny. Well, I will never have progeny, but for the rest of you who are fortunate to have grandchildren and great-grandchildren, we're building a better world, one breath at a time, babies. Love to all. Peace out. Shalom from Titania's realm at Sacred Space.